As some of you may already know, I arrived in Honduras several years ago with nothing but the clothes on my back. Despite being hunted by both the US government and the cartel, I wasted no time using my unique skill set to begin rebuilding my life. My first priority was securing a means of transportation because I was in an area where public transportation was the most dangerous in the world. My first contract employer provided me with the cheap Chinese dirt bike that you can see in the beginning of this video. But it wasn't long before I had the Overland Expedition Titan, you probably recognize from other videos, smuggled into the country. Soon, a myriad of bacterial infections took their toll on my body, as is common for North Americans, yet I only stopped working long enough to stop by the local witch doctor and get an injection. I lost 40 pounds of muscle in my first 6 months in country and just learned to deal with the symptoms. I built up a resistance to local pathogens and was treated for H. pylori in a German prison 6 months later. Meanwhile, I was on my grind. It wasn't long before I purchased a Toyota Land Cruiser 79 Series pickup with cash in Guatemala. For those who don't know, the Toyota 79 Series pickup is the dream truck for pickup truck or truck lovers of any kind. They're the toughest truck ever built, as well as the most capable off-road production vehicle ever built. And I had some big plans for this one. Four-wheel drive. Front locker. And rear locker. For real high. Low gear. By the end of this video, you'll see how I transform this truck into the most capable overland expedition vehicle in the Americas. But for now, I'm taking it on its maiden voyage, first drive in the mountains. Get a good look at how it looks here, because it won't ever look the same again. For expedition vehicles, I now had the Titan and the Land Cruiser, both of which can be seen on other videos here, and there's write-ups on the website. From being homeless on the streets of one of the most dangerous cities in the world, to building myself an armada of vehicles, it was now time to look into housing. We needed somewhere secure and remote, and what better way to kick it off than a party?
I may or may not spend my days off a little differently than most people.
We didn't have any furniture here yet, but this house boasted a level of luxury almost never seen in Central America. Life was very fast-paced these days, and the struggle was real. But what was most important is that I was alive and free. I learned a lot of hard-taught lessons these days and lost a lot of friends and associates. But it will forever be remembered as a time of learning and freedom to me. I'll give you a quick walk around of the facility. That's a grill and barbecue area that you can see back there. Several bedrooms. I believe there was 11 bedrooms here. Walking up to the carport. As I said, security was pretty great. That's all very nice electric gate there. There's a little area where you can see my boots that didn't make it to my room. We had a cooler, no furniture, some chairs. The pool was pretty nice. We were still trying to figure out how to get the pool not to leak, so we only turned the waterfall on when we wanted to use it. Like I said, this level of construction was pretty new to Central America, and not many people had anything like this or had ever built anything like this. Yes, I'm just going to ignore the mannequin with the bullet holes, but as always, you guys can ask questions below. Feel free to like or dislike this video.
I'll be completely honest with you, my days off suck.
Even when I was relaxing, I always had to be ready. I didn't have the luxury of letting my guard down. But occasionally I could surround myself with enough good people that I could have some fun. There's a lot I can't show you, and there's a lot I won't show you. What I will show you will be educational and entertaining for sure. The good times were good, the bad times were bad. And one of the things that always kept me balanced was my training.
Successful day of MMA training at Alcatraz. Alcatraz. When I tell my driver to do something he doesn't want to do and he acts like he doesn't speak English.
¿De qué estás hablando, huevón?
I hired employees and continued to build my business. I continued to work hard every day, and a lot of what you see here is the downtime or vacation time. I got a bed in my bedroom, and I started to branch out into what is now Bone Tactical Knife and Tool, the most effective edged weapons and self-defense tools in the world. This is one of the original aluminum bone breaker self-defense keychains. Doing some research and development in one of my safe houses. These tools are available for purchase on the website. I started looking into property investment and development and found some hidden gems like this piece of property here that cost only $15,000.
Man, it's a good looking truck out here on the beach, ain't it?
But the work never stopped, and as I expanded, security needed to expand as well. Finding weapons for your security teams in remote areas of Central America can be difficult and dangerous. I almost lost my hand here testing this shotgun that blew up in my hand. The barrel, actually, if my thumb would have been a little higher, I lost it. But still, I test every weapon before I give it to any of my guys. I'll never give someone something that wouldn't work. Onwards and upwards, surviving another close call. It's almost my birthday. I'm still being hunted and I've been working hard. I'm tired and I need a break. I still can't travel under my real name, but I'm headed out into the Caribbean for some R&R. It was a low point in my life. I was depressed and I went through a lot of young women and old whiskey. I'm not proud of it. It's an unfulfilling lifestyle, and I'm sharing it so you don't make the same mistakes I made. I was on Tinder a lot here in the Caribbean. I'm sitting here at a fancy restaurant waiting for my next Tinder date. This particular Tinder date happened to go what I considered then to be well. It turns out her family owns a resort on the island. We ended up making risky decisions on her private dock with a bottle of booze, and then later on in her bungalow. The bungalow was a nice change for me because previously to that I'd been staying wherever I could stay for cash only.
Life's a beach. Then you die.
I still love the islands, and I've got other videos up on here talking about these particular areas. This island is Roatan, and then next I'm on my way over to the next island, hop, a skip, and a jump away, which there's also a video on, and this island here is Utila. What you see here is Bando Beach, Utila. But when you can only spend cash and you have it all on you, it goes pretty fast. So it wasn't long before I had to get back to work and packed up my kit and my body bag and rolled on to the next job. Again, weapons testing was essential, but the weapons started to get a little cooler as time went on, and I improved my contacts.
Sí.
This submachine pistol would do the trick nicely. But it wasn't all fun games, fast cars, and freedom for me. Hard work was just around the corner, and it came in the way of blazing new trails, both literally and figurative. As my local contacts improved, my endeavors also got more legit. I started working with some wealthy landowners and farmers in just about any means that they needed. My friend that I'm working with here had been kidnapped in this same area and marched through the woods to the next country over by a bunch of men with AK-47s. But I was with him now, and he wouldn't have to worry about anything like that happening ever again. There's no law out here in these mountains. It's a true Wild West scenario, and you're your own man. You can do what you want, forge your business the way you want it to, but there's not just security dangers. There's a lot of dangers of the land and nature themselves. Like you can see here, even the roads are dangerous to traverse. But with the greatest risk, always comes the greatest reward. Over the next few months, I dumped my knowledge of driving tough off-road trails into my next overland expedition vehicle build, along with a lot of money. Here you can see my Land Cruiser beginning its transformation into a true monster. And of course, there's really nothing like driving an old stick shift pickup truck with a pair of eel-skin boots through San Pedro Sula. We pulled the bed and bumpers, built a new subframe, new bumpers, and then started the rear entire cage area with boxes. The Hilux needed a new set of tires, and none of my guys had ever heard of Toyo Open Country MTs. So I took them to Tegucigalpa, the only place where you can buy these tires in country. While we were there, we enjoyed a little bit of the scenery and one of the cooler hotels in the area, a Japanese restaurant with a nice flair. This may not be something extreme for a lot of you guys to see, but in the middle of the biggest city in Honduras, this is extremely rare. We enjoyed some good Asian food, which obviously wasn't readily available in the mountains that we had been working in previously, and then prepared ourselves for a trip over the border to Guatemala. Tegucigalpa is a beautiful and dangerous mountain city in Honduras. A little pro tip for you is don't fly into the airport. If you need to go to Tegus, fly into San Pedro.
This is what I'm having to deal with today.
Let's go.
Ridiculous. Furry fruits.
The road conditions in Guatemala left something to be desired. In fact, we would be on the mountain and the road would just disappear at times. But we stopped and hit a fair and loaded ourselves up with some local food, which had become a habit for us by this time. I don't remember how many tacos we ate, or even if it was Tuesday, but I know we hit every taco stand at the fair. We were in Guatemala in search of a commodity that the man we were working for had got very rich off of, and also had nearly lost his life for.
We're here deep in the mountain region of Guatemala. Very popular for cardamom. 80% of the cardamom in the world comes from here. Some of the best cardamom in the world. In the Bone Tactical Land Cruiser expedition vehicle. The funny thing is just talking with these gentlemen here, and police aren't actually allowed in this area. When they come in town, the locals are so protective of their environment, they actually capture them and beat them. And pretty interesting thing, just very self-preservation minded and very proud local culture that traces its lineage back to the original natives that used to live here.
So with permission from the locals, a translator that speaks Kachek, and some grandes huevos, one can purchase a container of cardamom here for about $70,000 and sell it just about anywhere in the United States or Europe for about $120,000. The man we were working for here was stopped, robbed, and shot and left for dead in this same area at a homemade roadblock by some men that we now think were off-duty police officers. He survived because they put a bag over his head before they shot him in the leg and in the head, and the bullet traveled around his skull and didn't enter into his brain. He then walked to safety. We actually came up to a similar roadblock on this trip, but we were prepared for it. We came what we did to do, got the deals done, and had enough time to enjoy ourselves. This is the world-famous Carrera de Caballos, made famous when a few years back Los Zetas began to open fire at a DEA plane flying low doing surveillance. This was the site of a very bloody and nasty turf war.
It is prohibited to drink liquor in the parking lot. No creo. Interesante.
Asistente.
Sí, don Goyo.
Leaving behind the robbers, killers, and narco turf wars, I began to make some more additions and changes to the Land Cruiser. I finished up the design and left the truck with my builder.
Get a little morning workout in. Not a bad location for it.
While I headed out on another trip to the islands.
Getting ready to put in this extra work. Doing the tough jobs nobody else wants to do. Getting these ladies taking some pictures in their gear.
During this little trip to Utila, I made the Utila YouTube video that has since become popular, and really was one of my first YouTube videos that I had pre-planned or took any effort into doing. I want to take this moment to say I really appreciate all of you guys following along and your support. If you like what you see, please comment below and let me know. If you have any suggestions on what you'd rather see or what you'd like to see more of, also let me know. And if you want to see more videos from me in the future, please pause this video and share it with at least one friend. By sharing the videos that I make, it allows me to have the means to make more videos through the success of these videos. So thanks again. At this time, I'm still being illegally hunted by US law enforcement. Illegal raids are taking place, my friends and family are being harassed, and I still have a price on my head from the criminal underworld. Despite all this, I'm working with multiple attorneys to try and prove my innocence and end the harassment. I'm trying to negotiate my surrender and return to the United States, and I'm even writing letters to the president, one of which you can still see online in a public forum. The US government refused to honor my constitutional rights, and I remained a wanted fugitive.
Interpol, they got them. They'll get your ass even down here if they really want you. This is what happens after a Interpol red notice, guys. Can't get out anywhere in the world from an Interpol red notice.
I hope the irony of one of Interpol's most wanted at the time riding directly behind one of Interpol's recently arrested is not lost on you. But it's back to work for me, and you can see here my trucks in a new secure location. This house, like the other, has high shock electric fences and a remote electric gate. The Titan and the Land Cruiser are here together rolling hard, and some of the toughest trucks in the area. By this time, I had developed a reputation for myself here in Honduras, and when I showed up on the block, I was a bit of a force to be reckoned with. Around this time, I started my philanthropic and humanitarian efforts. I myself was alive and well, still hunted but well, and it was time to do it to help those around me. We began by building schools and bridges so that children who had no access could now have access to education. We received funding from some large organizations that had interests in the area, and here we are route planning the day before the executives flew in to see the school that some of their donations helped build. We had to put this plaque up because the local government had already been here trying to take credit for building the school themselves. We put this plaque up the day before to let everyone know who built the school and who helped build the school. I'm honored that I was able to help these children who had previously had no access to education now have a chance at a future. It means a lot to me that I was able to help this project come to fruition safely and according to plan. Helping others in any way we can should be something that's more important to all of us. And it's something that we can all do to help make the world a better place. When you support Bone Tactical, you support the impoverished. Even here, road conditions are always subject to change, and it's the reason we always did route planning ahead of time, as well as working with multiple vehicles and local contacts.
It's not usually that the Land Cruiser's the one to break down, but that's what happens when you have a 2002 with never change low or water or fluids, just dumping some river water in the radiator.
These Land Cruisers are very tough trucks, but they have an engine temperature gauge with an auto shut-off feature, and when it gets too hot, the engine will shut off on its own. That's why we saw the temperature overheating and drove straight to where we knew a river crossing was, set up vehicles on both sides of the river, and prepared to put in some water in a safe area. If you think about it, you can tell from this video that it can be difficult to tell the good guys from the bad guys down here. Another successful mission, and on to more work for the Land Cruiser. This time we pulled out the whole interior and put some heavy-duty insulation on the metal. Now the truck is not only waterproof, but heat and sound resistant as well. That was followed up by a full suspension rebuild, which you can see here and on the website as well, leaving the Land Cruiser looking majestic as, well, you get the picture. I had finally built myself something of a life in Central America, Yet the US government refused to cooperate with my attorneys or to honor my constitutional rights. They refused to negotiate my surrender, so I decided to set the stage of my capture on my terms. I honestly thought that I would be killed because what the US government was doing was illegal and unwarranted. I knew they wouldn't want any record of our interactions to exist, so I set everything into motion that I could to prepare for my death. I made sure the people that were still on my side knew exactly what was going on. I said my goodbyes, and I lived life a little bit. Once I had pretty much set up who would pick me up and how through counterintelligence. My last days in Central America were fun. I made a little money, and I spent a lot of money. I wanted to do one last big job, to go out with a bang, so to speak. So I prepared to head out to eastern Honduras, one of the most lawless and dangerous places on earth, to work with some gold mining operations there. I've got a lot of videos up here on YouTube with all the gold mining operations and what I was doing out there. But you can imagine how dangerous that it would be.
Great work, sir. Great work. $12 an hour, getting your money's worth. Well, would you look at that bone breaker in the magazine? Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Handling millions of dollars of gold and cash in one of the poorest countries on earth. So the guys and I set out on some team building endeavors on what we knew could be our last mission here on earth. We ate the best food, listened to the best music, and prepared ourselves with the best equipment that money could buy. The closer we got to eastern Honduras, the more exotic everything became. Illegal birds like this scarlet macaw stopped becoming important, whether they were pets or not. Eventually we hit the last town on the map and the last semblance of law and order. We filled our bellies with the best seafood that we could find, had a big dinner, and got a good night rest. Enjoyed the beach and the salty air, and the next day prepared for bigger and better things.
Así vas a cruzar, hija. Así vas a cruzar, Sandra, cuando vengan. Ahí,
I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's the ocean. And this is one of the most difficult tracks. One of the most difficult overland tracks in the world. And I'm doing it at night, in the rain, in the rainy season when everyone says it's impassable. La Mosquitia, Honduras. This is the area, and that's the ocean. This is it. See, got VIP parking at the gold mine.
VIP.
And TV solar power.
What happened in those jungles will forever stay in those jungles. A few furry friends and some keepsakes are the only things still around to remind us of those days. Difficult days they were. Difficult and rewarding.
Diamond, gold, 5 kilos of gold, prehistoric amber, some more gold, and the cleaning process of gold.
My days here were numbered. I had fed the US government the information they needed to pick me up, since I couldn't organize for my surrender, and they had already started a joint task force organized through Interpol Washington and some other government agencies.
Look, the room is actually not, what's up? The room is actually not destroyed, so if they tell you it's destroyed, it's not true. So We're leaving right now, walking out, checking out. Current video footage of the room being intact and not destroyed.
I had one last great meal at Club Árabe in San Pedro Sula. It's a private club that I recommend any visitors visiting because they'll let you in with a foreign passport. I set off on my way to Europe, planning to be killed or captured in Germany. What I failed to plan for was the incompetency of the federal government. At the time of shooting this video in Berlin, both Spain and Germany had botched capture missions, along with U.S. intelligence communities. I had been captured and tortured in El Salvador and released upon not revealing the information that they wanted. I still hadn't fully regained my mental and physical health, as you can see here, and things would only get worse. I was now under full surveillance by a joint task force between the United States and Germany. I was stressed, I hadn't slept in days, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know why they were only watching me. I found out later it was because some amount of oversight, checks and balances began to take place because of my YouTube video of my death that went out when I was thought to be killed in El Salvador. Interpol realized there was no evidence against me of a crime, but they decided that it was too late. They moved forward, illegally arrested me, and illegally put me in a German prison for 48 days. They fed it to the press and newspapers that I was arrested in Florida for a made-up charge. I was then extradited to the United States by a team of U.S. Marshals and put in jail in Salt Lake City, where I quickly bonded out with $75,000 cash. I then wasted no time living life to the fullest, having cheated death yet again. I got back on my normal heavy workout routine, caught up with those near and dear to me, and began to thank God for another chance at life. Only through His mercy am I still here today.
When you listen to Master P's Bourbons and Lacs, one too many times.
And then I was back in the States with my good old bulletproof 6.0.
Literally a line of 5 over 500 horsepower cars. America. Yeah, buddy. Doesn't get much better than that.
Step one, while out on bond and the U.S. government is trying to put you in prison for the rest of your life, is hit all those little bucket list items. I did a cross-country road trip and filmed a new video every day, which you can see here on YouTube.
One of the top 20 whiskeys in the world, Larceny. You guys got to try it. Out of a shaker bottle. Yeah, buddy. Get in, fucker. We're going riding.
I've since beat these charges, and the government has admitted their wrongdoing. Not publicly, of course, but this is the third life sentence that I've beat. And this is just 1 year in my life. Not even the craziest year. But stay tuned for more. As I throw in some more clips from this epic road trip, I'd like to invite you again to subscribe to my channel, to like, comment, and share this video, and to support Bone Tactical in any way if you like this video. Anything you buy off of bonetactical.com will help me regain a little bit of what I've lost and help me in my fight for freedom.
This is a great Western Door store.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the fort.
Working out and training has always been a big priority for me. Many of you know that I played college football, kickbox, rode bulls, and that I'm a NSCA certified strength and conditioning coach. I worked with the football program at the University of Utah, and that's what I was doing when I was ran out of the country. I obviously can't coach anymore, but I still love it, and I love sports. I still run my strength and conditioning programs through Bone Tactical, and I still have experience coaching NFL, NCAA Division I athletes. I worked with women's track, men's and women's tennis at the University of Utah. And if any of you would like some workout plans, I can make it happen. Check out the strength and conditioning portion of the website.
Hey, buddy.
Anybody want any meat? Yep, that's meat.
I'm back traveling abroad now, still working to rebuild my business and clear my name, despite being clearly innocent of all charges against me. Being hunted by the government is over for now, but they continue to harass myself and my loved ones.
Ricky, what's the coolest toy you could possibly have in your backyard? Oh, helicopter. Not too bad.
The internet smear campaign and false information fed to the news media has not subsided. Despite all this, I'm working my butt off rebuilding Bone Tactical. I haven't let these struggles harden my heart, and I still find time for a little fun, as well as helping others and documenting my adventures. I've since started an exotic tour company, giving you guys the ability to show you little known, beautiful locations like this. And I'm making the most effective knives and self-defense tools in the world, one blade and one tool at a time, by hand. So any support, again guys, is much appreciated. At the time of the posting of this video, I'll have a few of these neck knives available, made so people can defend themselves against the violence and evil in this world by a guy who knows it firsthand, the EDC Kank.